What's up, everybody? Well, with the Chucky TV series just a couple of months away, hopefully, I'm been getting a little bit of Chucky fever here again. It's been a while since I've been talking about this franchise, although I have talked about it to death. I've done a ton of rankings. I realized, you know what? I haven't really discussed my favorite characters in the franchise yet. So today we're going to talk about my top 10 favorite characters in the Child's Play franchise. But before I get to the ranking, I have a very special presentation for all of you because this video is sponsored by Fright Rags. Every single video that I do just about, somebody asks me, dude, where did you get that t-shirt? That t-shirt is awesome, where can I get one? And the answer to that question 99 times out of 100 in my videos is Fright Rags. They are the leading horror apparel company. They are by far my favorite apparel company. I buy just about every single design that these guys come out with. The quality of the shirts are awesome. And they don't even just do shirts. They also do hoodies once in a while. They do hats. They've done lounge pants. These are both a part of a brand new Chucky collection that just premiered on Wednesday. There's also a brand new design, which is like a Chucky fries fast food advertisement type design. They always have really cool creative stuff. Sometimes they just take covers of movies and they do their own brand new, completely exclusive artwork, which I absolutely love. And sometimes they take designs that you might recognize and do some fun things with it. They do these retro things once in a while to where they take old classic movie covers and they kind of put like an 80s horror twist on it, which I bought a few of them. They had one where it was the Back to the Future cover, but they made it with the Christine characters. They did one that was Fright Night in front of the Saturday Night Fever cover. These guys are just awesome if you love horror, and even if you love movies. Some movies on here that they feature aren't even horror franchises, they're just awesome franchises. And if that doesn't whet your appetite enough, next Wednesday, or I guess it would be this coming Wednesday, they're actually going to be releasing a Texas Chainsaw collection too, and the designs on those look absolutely awesome. So if you guys love horror, if you love awesome t-shirts, awesome apparel, and if you have been wondering for the longest time watching my channel where I get all of the awesome shirts that I wear, the answer is Fright Rags. So check down below to the link that I'm going to post for frightrags.com and use my exclusive code CLEACH10 to get 10% off of your order. So please support this awesome company, support this video by checking that out, and get yourself some kick-ass swag down below that you can feature in your own videos or just walk around and get complimented on all the time like I do. So please check that out. And now on to the top 10 best characters in the Child's Play franchise. So coming in at number 10 for me is gonna be Shelton from Child's Play 3. Now, those of you guys that have watched me for a while, those of you guys that have watched a lot of my Child's Play videos, you know that Child's Play 3 is a very important movie to me. I know it's not necessarily the fan favorite of the franchise, but I absolutely love it. It is one of my favorites, and it was the horror movie that made me a horror fan. It was the first one I ever watched, so I've always had a special place in my heart for it, and I absolutely love this guy. He is the absolute asshole prick douchebag role that you get in a lot of slasher films, but for some reason I just enjoy it. I enjoy seeing him torture older Andy Barkley for some reason.
Fuck me.
He's just such an unapologetic dickwad that it comes through in a way that's almost charming to me. The same way why I get the same kind of liking to Trent from Friday the 13th that everybody hates. For some reason, that guy just entertains the shit out of me. Shelton entertains the hell out of me too. And you know what? There's a certain side of me that, you know, he does take it a little bit too far, but he is also, when you look at it from his perspective and all the excuses that Andy gives him throughout the movie, you could understand from an officer perspective why he would give Andy a little bit more of a hard time than other people. So I think he's a little misunderstood. Shelton, number 10. Number 9 is not a major character by any means, but he's one of my favorite parts of the entire movie that he is in, and that is Chief Warren Kinkade, played by the late, great John Ritter. This is a guy that comes in and once again is kind of like that asshole character. Got a little bit of a theme going so far. He has this overbearing protectiveness of his niece, who you can tell right off the bat he doesn't even really like all that much. He's just using his powers as the police chief to kind of have fun with it. And there's something about that that's kind of funny about the guy, but what I like about it, not only the fact that I love John Ritter, is that I love the fact that this guy brings me two of the best kills in the entire movie, one of which is one of my favorite kills in the entire franchise. Might be my favorite kill in the franchise now that I think about it. What did I say in my ranking? Was it number 1? You guys know.
No!
But when he sneaks into the van to plant the drugs to set up Jesse, and Tiffany shows Chucky, the creativity of the kill that you can do, and just launches these airbag nails into his face, and then you get that great follow-up line by Chucky about, damn, that looks familiar. That is awesome, and then he comes back later on to fuck up the works once again and just gets fucking knifed to death by Chucky. I love this character, and for Bride of Chucky being my second favorite of the franchise, that is probably one of the best parts of the movie for me, so pretty high up there. Number 8, bringing it back to Child's Play 3, and we've got Kyrin Da Silva. Now, I like her because she's really the only quasi-love interest that we ever get for Andy in this entire franchise. You know, we haven't gotten that in any movie since Child's Play 3. And they don't necessarily go full bore. I mean, they could just go on, if they did a Child's Play 4 that continued with those characters and they were just friends, it would still feel natural, but there was some kind of a flirtation there. She had some kind of a charming allure to Andy, to where he really liked her and she really liked him. And I just like her attitude. That one scene whenever Sheldon is just ribbing into people and she's just like, you asshole, and then just gets into her face and she does the one-arm push-ups just to give him the big middle finger. I love a tough chick. Hell, I'm married to one. And I love Da Silva. So she is definitely number 8 for me.
Man, I really gotta get out of this body.
Number 7, bringing it back to the OG, and we have Andy's mom, Karen Barkley. And you could kind of tie in the remake in with this as well, because I do like Aubrey Plaza's, tongue-tied, Aubrey Plaza's version of this character as well, although she's not nearly as good of a mother as the original. But what I like about this character is how much she loves her son. I mean, from the very beginning of the original movie, she just wants to make him smile so much that she will go through hell and high water to get this good guy doll for him, and that really does make me love her. I mean, you know, as a character, you can't help but love her. But when she gets the attitude, when she's the one that finally brings Chucky out, you know, you little fucker, I'm gonna throw you in the fire, and then you just have that great iconic scene.
I said talk to me, damn it, or else I'm gonna throw you in the fire!
You stupid bitch, you filthy slut! Did you fuck with me?
And she battles it out with Chucky all the way through to the end to protect her son. She's a great character. You go to the Aubrey Plaza side, again, not quite as good of a character. We'll see if we get a sequel. Maybe she can expand on that a little bit. But I kind of like her young, vulnerable, not the best mom, but she got a little bit of spunk to her. You know, she's a little bit more of the new age attitude version of Karen, and I like both of them. So Andy's mom, not very high on this list, but certainly makes the top 10 for me. Number 6 is gonna be Mike Norris. Yes, the great Chris Sarandon. This is the original detective in the original film. I'll be honest, I think the remake version of it probably knocks it down on this list a little bit. I didn't feel like separating those characters. Not nearly as good in the remake, just kind of the comic relief neighbor. But if you focus on the original, this is the guy that took out Charles Lee Ray. This is the guy that inadvertently caused this entire franchise because he gunned down the main serial killer at the beginning of the film in Brad Dourif's Charles Lee Ray, and then he puts his soul into the doll and just kicks off the events of this awesome franchise. So he's a very important character for a guy that we've only seen once. And I would really like to see him, if we're going to continue on with this TV series and we're bringing back a lot of the classic characters, obviously we've got all the characters from the last couple of movies coming too. If we're going to have some surprise roles, I would love to see either Karen or Mike come back into the fold. And I love this guy's attitude. I love that he's kind of that hard-boiled detective that, you know, doesn't really give a shit, but at the same time kind of does. And then towards the end, like when you get that great scene in the car whenever he's trying to stab him up through the seat and he's bouncing around and he just comes face to face with the doll, and now he has to just drop all credibility whatsoever to take this guy down for the second time. He's a really cool character. I want to see more of him. Mike, number 6. Moving into the top 5, and number 5 for me is going to be Nikki Pierce. Now, I'll be honest with you, prior to Cult, she probably would have made my top 3 because I thought she was an awesome character. I didn't quite know walking into it. I had never seen Fiona Dourif act before. This was the first movie that was going to be going to VOD into straight to video with Curse of Chucky. And to me, just on paper, I was like, oh, so it's Brad Dourif's daughter. Are they just throwing her a bone and giving her this acting job because she's Brad Dourif's daughter, or does she actually have talent? And she was awesome in Curse of Chucky. She was one of the best parts of that movie and one of the best characters in the franchise at that point. I loved her vulnerability in being a handicapped person, but having to escape this situation that people with perfectly good legs are getting picked off left and right. I like her attitude by the end of the film where she's taking on Chucky and, you know, come on, you little fucker.
You wanna play, motherfucker? Let's play.
And that whole antagonistic relationship that they develop, You get into Colt, I lose a little bit of love for her character because of the way that they write her, but she's still cool. She still has that attitude. There's just some things about the way that they have the storyline of that movie that I don't necessarily love for the legacy of that character. And now, by the end of Colt, spoiler alert, I guess, for like a, 4 or 5 year old movie, she's basically Chucky now. Chucky inhabits her. So now Nika is Chucky. Where that's going to go in this franchise for the TV series, I don't know. Is he going to escape her and now we're going to have Nika back on the good side? Or is she going to be full-fledged villain from now on? Not sure. That could make her go up and down on this list. But as of right now, absolutely number 5 is Nika. Number 4 for me is going to be Kyle from Child's Play 2 in a small little role in a post-credit scene in Cult of Chucky. And she will be featured, hopefully heavily, in the Chucky TV series. Kyle is just awesome. I mean, this is a character that shows up in one movie in this franchise, and she's an absolute fan favorite and has always been. The relationship that she develops with Andy in Child's Play 2, kind of this older sister, this protector, this not necessarily a mom, but she certainly fills that void that his mom being in an asylum left in Andy. That relationship and that protective sense of her just makes everybody fall in love with her. And she's just a badass chick. I love her attitude. I love her attitude towards the foster parents who have always weirded me out, wanting to smoke, wanting to go off and do her dates, and just the relationship we have with Andy where she's playing with him and she's entertaining him as a young kid, and she's acknowledging the fact that he's a little bit aggravating being a young kid. But at the same time, once she finds out about Chucky being real, she's like his only defense at that point.
Women drivers!
She's his only body shield from all of the doubt that everybody and anybody casts upon him when he tries to tell him the situation that he's in. And then you get that great third act in Child's Play 2 where her and Andy just go and just dismantle Chucky little by little in that good guy doll factory. I absolutely love it. So I've always loved Kyle. I've always loved Christine Elise McCarthy and the way that she brought this character to life, and I'm definitely glad that we're going to get more of her. You know, it wasn't quite enough for me at the end of Cult, and I'm not the biggest fan of that movie, so I was like, oh, why is this the movie that I get Kyle back? But hopefully, I'm trying to stay positive that the Chucky TV series is going to be good to awesome, and we're going to get to see a lot more of that dynamic between her and Alex Vincent, and that's probably the main thing that I'm looking forward to with this TV series.
Kyle?
Andy sent me. We're gonna have some fun.
Now we're in our top 3, and these are absolutely the heavy hitters of this franchise. And number 3 for me is going to be Tiffany Valentine. And again, before Cult, she probably would have been number 2. And it's not necessarily Tiffany's fault, the story that we've decided to go on for a couple of these movies, but Bride of Chucky, I absolutely love her. I love her in her human form as Jennifer Tilly, and I love her in the doll form. I think that she is awesome, and I absolutely love that movie predominantly because of Tiffany. Seed of Chucky, I still like her character a lot. I just don't really like that movie very much, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Curse, very intriguing with how she is integrated at the end and where does this fall, and she's still in the mix, but what is this plot that they're doing where they're sending Chucky to these different families? We still don't completely have the answer to that question, and I just thought her integration in Cult was terrible. I don't know if that's a writing thing or a Jennifer Tilly acting thing. I honestly don't know. I love her to death, but her placement in Cult just felt like one of the worst parts of the movie to me, and it brought her down just a little bit. She would have been number 2 easy before Cult, but nonetheless, even with that being said, Tiffany is damn near synonymous with Chucky at this point. And I can't think of another slasher franchise in history that has a horror icon on the level of Chucky that brings in a new character halfway through the franchise that is now battling for how popular that character is. I mean, it's like a Joker and Harley Quinn thing. Harley Quinn is arguably more popular than Joker at this point, but you never see that again until Chucky and Tiffany. And Tiffany is just a badass chick. She's just as evil, if not more, than Chucky. She's more creative as a killer. She tries to pump the brakes on that side of herself, but when it comes out, it's even more of just a ferocious bloodbath than Chucky's ever given us.
Take it from me, honey. Plastic is no substitute for a nice hunk of wood.
I didn't hear her complaining last night.
And she just bounces off of Chucky and Brad Dourif's voice acting just perfectly. She's just a perfect antithesis to him, and they are a match made in hell. Absolutely. So Tiffany Valentine for me, coming in at number 3. Then, of course, that will bring Andy Barkley to number 2. Now, this is the heart and soul of the good side of the franchise for sure. I mean, this was our protagonist for the first 3 films. They finally brought him back into the fold with Curse of Chucky and Cult of Chucky in a much bigger role in Cult, and he's going to be a large part of this TV series from what we can tell. So Andy Barkley is our main character of this franchise aside from our titular villain Chucky. So Andy Barkley, as a kid, there's no other slasher franchise aside from that one movie in Friday the 13th, which is number 4, where the main slasher villain was going after a young child. And there's something that just makes the stakes a little bit bigger for you then. You know, Freddy was always going after teenagers. Jason was always going after teenagers. Leatherface was always going after full-grown adults and teenagers. You know, Chucky was going after a child. Chucky was trying to kill this kid, trying to inhabit this kid, trying to violate this kid from within, basically, not in a creepy way. And something about that has always made me identify more with this franchise than some of the other slasher franchises. There's just something more real, a little bit more taboo about it that just draws me in. And even aside from that, Andy's just a great character. You know, he's very young in the first movie, so he's not, you know, he doesn't have a whole lot of room to shine as an actor. I think he's much better in Child's Play 2 as far as Alex Vincent goes. That's definitely my favorite of the franchise, and he's a large reason why. And I thought he was pretty good when he came back at the end of Curse and in Cult. I just don't think that the writing of what they did with his character, with his whole plot, was very good. I think that kind of made him seem a little bit dumb by the end of the movie, but we'll see how that plays out in the TV series again. Again, character that could go up and down. Him and Tiffany are pretty neck and neck there with the way they were utilized in those last couple of movies. But Andy Barkley, even in the remake, I gotta talk about the remake too. Andy Barkley in the remake was great. They actually expanded much more on the relationship between Chucky and Andy became much more of an interesting character within that singular film for certain aspects because of that, because it's no longer just this evil voodoo serial killer doll that's trying to kill this kid and he just has to be on the run. There's this father-son relationship between Chucky and Andy is kind of at fault for some of the downfalls of Chucky in a certain way. So even if you go with that timeline of the Child's Play franchise, he's just an awesome, intriguing character. So Andy Barkley, heart and soul of the franchise, comes in at number 2. And did you honestly expect anybody else to be number 1 aside from my boy Chucky? Chucky is the shit. Chucky and Freddy, I've said this ad nauseum, are my favorite slasher horror icons. They are a huge part of my life. I absolutely love this killer doll to death. He introduced me to horror and he's had a special place in my heart ever since. I love the sadisticness of him. I love the dark humor that he brings. I love his attitude. He just seems like a very full, fleshed out character, which you don't get a whole lot in slasher movies. A lot of them are just silent dudes with masks and knives. Chucky and Freddy were never that way. And man, do I love this. I love the voice acting by Brad Dourif. I mean, that guy is just brilliant in this role. He lives and breathes that character to where I've said that I can accept another version of Freddy at some point, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing a recast of Freddy for an eventual movie. Chucky, I don't think anybody's ever going to be able to replace Brad Dourif for me. I mean, even as good of a job as Mark Hamill did in the remake, that just wasn't Chucky to me. I really enjoyed that movie, but that wasn't Chucky to me. And I don't think anybody, and you could get the best voice actor on this earth, ranked greatest ever lived, to play Chucky, and to me, it's just the soul's not going to be there. It's all about Brad Dourif, and that's how important, that's how much I love this character, that there will only be one for me. And I love all the different designs that we've gotten for this doll too. I mean, you get that classic good guy design in the first couple of movies, you finally get that scarred design, which is my favorite in Bride and Seed and Onward. And he's a character that even decades later, you know, we can debate back and forth on the quality of the last couple of movies, but decades later, he is still going. He is still going with his own franchise. Yes, we got a remake that maybe one day we'll get a sequel. I hope it does. But that original timeline is still intact and still going with this TV series. And I hope that that's a success so that he'll keep going. I hope that I die before Chucky does. And as great of a character as he is, that is a very likely thing to happen. So I absolutely love Chucky. You guys know this. I've said it to death. And I'm going to keep on saying it long past the time that people say they're tired of hearing it. Chucky, my boy, is absolutely number 1. So what do you guys think? What are your top 10 characters in the Child's Play franchise? Let me know down below. Be sure to check out Fright Rags so you can get this t-shirt and awesome t-shirts like this one. Use the link down below Use my discount code CLEACH10, get yourself 10% off of your order. Please support this awesome company. And as far as supporting this video, like and share this video so it can get loved all around, and hit that subscribe button so you can check out everything else that's coming. Tomorrow we got the Fast and the Furious ranking, now that we got a new movie. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And then at some point over the next week or so, I'm probably gonna be jumping back into my Dexter review. So all you Dexter fans have been waiting patiently, season 4 is coming soon. So please check all that out. Hit the subscribe button is the best way to do that. Thank you guys for watching as always, and remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.